Maya Chen sat in the small practice room backstage at the Riverside Symphony Orchestra. Her fingers moved across the silent keyboard in front of her. She was not making any sound. She was just practicing the movements. This was something she did every day before each performance. But Maya never actually performed. She just sat and waited. She had been waiting for 3 years. The orchestra was warming up on the other side of the thick wall. Maya could hear the violins tuning their instruments. She could hear the low sounds of the cellos and the bright notes of the flutes. Soon the concert would begin. The main pianist would walk out on stage. The audience would clap. The music would start. And Maya would sit here alone in this small room. Just in case. Just in case something went wrong. Just in case the main pianist got sick or hurt. Just in case they needed her, but they never needed her. Maya was the backup pianist. That was her official title. Backup pianist for the Riverside Symphony Orchestra. It sounded important when she told people at parties or family gatherings. Her mother would smile with pride and tell her friends that Maya played for a real symphony orchestra. But her mother did not know the truth. Maya never told her. She never told anyone that she spent every performance sitting alone in a practice room, waiting. Always waiting. 3 years ago, Maya had been so excited when she got this job. She remembered the day she received the phone call. She had jumped up and down in her tiny apartment. She had called her sister Rachel and screamed with joy into the phone. Finally, her years of practice and study were paying off. Finally, she had made it into a professional orchestra. She would be performing in front of thousands of people. She would be sharing her gift with the world. But reality was different from her dreams. The first few months were not so bad. Maya told herself that this was temporary. She would prove herself. When they saw how dedicated she was, when they heard her practice and saw her commitment, they would give her a chance. Maybe the main pianist would take a vacation. Maybe there would be a special show where they needed 2 pianists. Maya stayed ready. She practiced every single day. She learned every piece in the orchestra's repertoire. She knew every note, every tempo change, every dynamic marking. She was always prepared, but the call never came. After 6 months, Maya started to feel worried. After 1 year, she started to feel invisible. After 2 years, she started to lose hope. And now, after 3 years, she just felt tired. Tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of sitting in this small room while others performed her dream. The concert started. Maya heard the orchestra begin the first piece. It was Beethoven tonight, Symphony No. 5. She knew it perfectly. She had practiced the piano part so many times that her fingers could play it in her sleep. She closed her eyes and listened. The music was beautiful. The musicians were talented. But Maya felt empty inside. When the concert ended 2 hours later, Maya packed up her bag. She folded her sheet music carefully. She put on her coat. She walked through the backstage hallways toward the exit. Other musicians passed her. Some nodded. Some said hello. Most did not notice her at all. She was part of the furniture now. Part of the background. The backup who never played. As she reached the door to leave, she heard her name. Maya Chen? She turned around. It was Sandra from the administrative office. Sandra looked uncomfortable. She was holding a folder and not making eye contact. Mr. Hoffman wants to see you, Sandra said quietly. In his office. Now, if you have time. Maya's heart jumped. Mr. Gerald Hoffman was the music director of the orchestra. He was the one who made all the important decisions. He hired musicians. He chose which pieces they would perform. He decided everything. Maya had only spoken to him a few times in 3 years. Mostly during her initial interview and once or twice in passing. Why did he want to see her now? Maybe this was it. Maybe they were finally going to give her a chance to perform. Maybe they had a special concert coming up and needed her skills. Maya felt a small spark of hope light up inside her chest. Of course, Maya said. I'll go right now. Sandra gave her a sad smile and walked away quickly. That smile should have warned Maya. But hope can make people blind to obvious signs. Maya walked up 2 flights of stairs to the administrative offices. Her heart was beating fast. She tried to calm herself down. She reminded herself not to get too excited. But she could not help it. After 3 years of nothing, maybe something was finally happening. She knocked on Mr. Hoffman's door. Come in, his voice called from inside. Maya opened the door and stepped into the office. It was a large room with dark wooden furniture. Awards and certificates covered the walls. There was a big window that looked out over the city. Mr. Hoffman sat behind his desk. He was a man in his 60s with gray hair and glasses. He wore an expensive suit. He did not smile when Maya entered. "Sit down, Ms. Chen," he said, pointing to a chair across from his desk. Maya sat down. She put her bag on the floor next to her. She folded her hands in her lap. Mr. Hoffman was looking at some papers on his desk. He did not look at her face. "I'll get straight to the point," he said. His voice was flat, businesslike. "The orchestra is making some budget adjustments. We've had to make some difficult decisions about staffing." Maya's hope began to fade. This did not sound like good news. This sounded like something else entirely. "We're eliminating several positions," Mr. Hoffman continued. He still did not look at her. "Unfortunately, the backup pianist position is one of them. We simply cannot justify the expense when the position is so rarely utilized." The words hit Maya like cold water. For a moment, she could not breathe. She could not think. She just sat there frozen. "Your last day will be November 30th, Mr. Hoffman said. That gives you 4 weeks. We'll provide a letter of recommendation, of course, and you'll receive your final paycheck along with compensation for unused vacation days." Maya found her voice. It came out smaller than she intended. "Is there any other position I could apply for?" she asked. "Maybe in a different role? I could teach or assist with rehearsals or—" Mr. Hoffman finally looked up at her. His eyes were cold. "Indifferent, I'm afraid not," he said. "The decision has been made. I'm sorry, but we need to move forward with these changes." He was not sorry. Maya could tell. This was just something he said because it was polite.
He had probably said the same words to other people today.
She was just another item on his list of tasks to complete. "I understand," Maya said quietly. She did not understand. But what else could she say? Mr. Hoffman stood up. He extended his hand across the desk. Maya stood up too. She shook his hand. His grip was firm and brief, professional, empty. "Best of luck in your future endeavors," he said. Then he sat back down and returned his attention to the papers on his desk. Maya was dismissed. In every sense of the word, she picked up her bag and walked out of the office. She closed the door behind her. The hallway was empty and quiet. Maya stood there for a moment. She did not know what to do. She did not know where to go. Her mind was spinning. Her chest felt tight. 3 years. She had given 3 years to this orchestra. And they were letting her go with 4 weeks' notice and a handshake. Just like that. As if those 3 years meant nothing. As if she meant nothing. Maya walked down the stairs slowly. Her legs felt heavy. Everything felt heavy. She walked through the backstage area. She passed the practice room where she had spent so many hours. She passed the main stage where she had never performed. She walked into the concert hall itself. The audience had gone home. The musicians had left. The hall was empty now. The lights were dim, but the beautiful grand piano still sat in the center of the stage. Maya walked down the aisle toward it. Her footsteps echoed in the empty space. She climbed the steps onto the stage. She walked across the polished wooden floor. She stood next to the piano. It was a magnificent instrument. A Steinway, one of the best pianos in the world. Maya had dreamed of playing this piano in front of an audience. She had dreamed of it every single day for 3 years. She reached out and touched the piano. The black surface was smooth and cool under her fingers. She ran her hand along the curved edge. She lifted the lid that covered the keys. The ivory and ebony keys gleamed in the low light. 88 keys. Infinite possibilities. Infinite music. Maya sat down on the piano bench. She adjusted it to the right height. She placed her hands on the keys. She did not press down. She just felt them under her fingers. She closed her eyes. In her mind, she heard applause. She heard an audience of thousands. She heard the sound she had imagined so many times. She saw herself playing a beautiful concerto. She saw people on their feet clapping, cheering. She saw her dream coming true. Then she opened her eyes. The hall was still empty. There was no audience. There was no applause. There was just silence and darkness and Maya alone on the stage. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Then another. Soon she was crying. She cried for the dream that had died. She cried for the 3 years she had wasted. She cried for the career that never was. She cried because she had tried so hard and it had not been enough. She cried because the world had told her she was not needed. After a while, the tears stopped. Maya took a deep breath. She closed the lid over the piano keys. She stood up. She took one last look at the empty concert hall. Then she turned and walked off the stage. She walked up the aisle. She pushed open the heavy doors at the back of the hall. She stepped outside into the cold November night. The city was busy around her. Cars drove past. People walked by on the sidewalks. The world kept moving. It did not care that Maya's dream had just ended. It did not notice. Life just continued on. Maya pulled her coat tighter around her. She started walking toward the subway station. Each step felt harder than the last. She thought about going home to her small apartment. She thought about the silence that would be waiting for her there. She thought about tomorrow and the day after that and all the days to come. What would she do now? Where would she go? Who was she without this job? For 3 years, being the backup pianist had been her identity. Even though she never played, even though no one knew her name, even though she sat in a practice room alone, she had been part of something. She had been part of a professional orchestra. She had been a musician, a pianist, someone with a purpose. Now she was nothing. Just another person who had failed. Just another dreamer who discovered that dreams do not always come true. Maya reached the subway station. She walked down the stairs. She swiped her card at the turnstile. She stood on the platform waiting for the train. Other people waited around her. Everyone looked tired. Everyone looked like they were thinking about their own problems. No one looked at Maya. No one knew that her world had just collapsed. The train arrived. The doors opened. Maya stepped inside. She found a seat in the corner. She stared out the window as the train moved through the dark tunnels under the city. The lights flickered past. Stations came and went. People got on and got off. The train kept moving. Maya thought about her life. She had started playing piano when she was 5 years old. Her mother had taken her to lessons every week. Maya had loved it immediately. The piano made sense to her in a way that nothing else did. When she played, the world became clear. When she played, she felt like herself. When she played, she felt like she mattered. She had practiced for hours every day throughout her childhood. While other kids played outside, Maya practiced scales and arpeggios. While other teenagers went to parties, Maya learned sonatas and concertos. While other young adults traveled and explored, Maya studied music at university. She had given everything to the piano. Everything. And for what? To be dismissed with a handshake? To be told she was not needed? To spend 3 years waiting for a chance that never came? The train reached Maya's stop. She got off. She walked up the stairs to street level. She walked 3 blocks to her apartment building. She climbed 4 flights of stairs. She unlocked her door. She stepped inside. Her apartment was small. Just 1 bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a living room that barely fit her furniture. But the most important thing in the room was her piano. Not a grand piano like at the orchestra. Just an upright piano that she had bought used many years ago. It was old and the finish was worn, but it played beautifully. This piano had been with her through everything. This piano knew all her secrets, all her tears, all her hopes. Maya dropped her bag by the door. She took off her coat. She sat down at her piano. She lifted the cover from the keys. She placed her hands in position. And then she played. She played Beethoven, the same piece the orchestra had performed tonight. But now she played it with all the emotion that had been building inside her. She played her anger and her sadness and her disappointment. She played her broken dreams and her lost years. She played everything she could not say with words. The music filled her small apartment. It poured out of her like water breaking through a dam. Her fingers flew across the keys. Her body moved with the rhythm. Her soul spoke through the notes. This was who she really was. This was what she had to offer the world. This was her gift. But who would ever hear it? Who would ever know? When Maya finished playing, she sat in silence. Her apartment was quiet again. The neighbors probably had not even heard her through the thick walls. Her gift was trapped here in this small space, just like she was, trapped and unseen and unheard. Maya stood up from the piano. She walked to her bedroom. She changed into her pajamas. She brushed her teeth. She climbed into bed. She lay there in the darkness, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow she would start looking for a new job. Tomorrow she would update her resume. Tomorrow she would start over. But tonight she just felt the weight of failure pressing down on her chest. Tonight she just felt alone. Tonight, she just felt dismissed. The morning after Maya lost her job, she woke up late. The sun was already bright through her bedroom window. For a moment, she forgot what had happened. For a moment, everything seemed normal. Then she remembered. Mr. Hoffman's office. His cold voice. The handshake. The dismissal. Maya pulled the blanket over her head. She wanted to stay in bed forever. She wanted to disappear into sleep and never wake up. But after an hour, her bladder forced her to get up. She dragged herself to the bathroom. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were red and puffy from crying. Her hair was a mess. She looked tired. She looked defeated. She made coffee. She sat at her small kitchen table. She opened her laptop. She needed to start looking for work. She needed to be practical. The money in her bank account would not last forever. She had rent to pay. She had bills. She had to eat. She had to survive. Maya opened her email. She had not checked it in 2 days. There were the usual things: spam, advertisements, a message from her sister Rachel asking if she wanted to have lunch on Sunday. Maya's fingers hovered over the keyboard. Should she tell Rachel what happened? Not yet. She could not face the questions and the pity yet. She opened a new browser tab. She typed in a job search website. She searched for positions for pianists. The results made her heart sink. There were not many openings. A few teaching positions at music schools. Some accompanist jobs for ballet classes or choir rehearsals. Nothing that paid well. Nothing that felt right. Maya clicked on the teaching positions. She read the requirements. Most wanted someone with teaching experience. Maya had never taught before. She had always focused on performing. Or at least she had focused on preparing to perform. She had spent her life perfecting her own skills, not learning how to teach others. Still, she had to try. She started filling out applications: name, address, education, work experience. She typed in her 3 years with the Riverside Symphony Orchestra. It looked good on paper. It looked like she had been an important part of the orchestra. The application did not have a box to check that said, "Actually, I just sat in a room and waited and never played a single note in front of anyone." She spent the entire day applying to jobs. By evening, she had submitted applications to 12 different positions. Her eyes hurt from staring at the computer screen. Her back ached from sitting in the same position for hours. She felt drained and hollow. The next few days followed the same pattern. Wake up, apply to jobs, wait, hope, nothing, no responses, no interviews, no interest. It was like shouting into a void. A week passed. Then 2 weeks. Maya's 4 weeks' notice at the orchestra was running out. She went to work each day as usual. She sat in the practice room. She waited. But now it felt even more meaningless than before. She was counting down the days until she would be free from this place. Or maybe until this place would be free from her. The other musicians did not know she was leaving. She had not told anyone. It felt too embarrassing to admit. She imagined their reactions. Some would say, "Oh, that's too bad," but not really mean it. Some would not care at all. She was barely visible to them anyway. Would they even notice when she was gone? On her last day, Maya cleaned out the practice room. There was not much to take. Some sheet music she had brought from home, a coffee mug, a small plant that had somehow survived in the windowless room. She packed everything into a cardboard box. She took one last look around the room that had been her prison for 3 years. Then she closed the door behind her. She did not say goodbye to anyone. She just walked out of the building and never looked back. November turned into December. The city became cold. Snow started to fall. Maya's bank account became smaller. Still no job offers. She had applied to more than 50 positions now. Most never responded. A few sent polite rejection emails. One place called her for an interview, but when she arrived, she could tell they were not impressed. They wanted someone younger. Someone with energy. Someone who had not already been defeated by life. Maya started to panic. She needed money. She needed to pay rent. She needed to eat. She thought about calling her mother and asking for help, but pride stopped her. Her mother thought she was still working at the orchestra. Her mother thought Maya was successful and living her dream. How could she admit the truth now? Christmas came and went. Maya spent it alone in her apartment. She told her family she had to work. Another lie to add to all the others. She ate microwave dinners and watched old movies on television. She tried not to think about the future. In January, desperation pushed Maya to walk into a music store downtown. It was called Melody House. It was a small shop that sold instruments and sheet music. A sign in the window said they were looking for someone to teach beginner piano lessons. The pay was low, very low, but it was something. The owner of the shop was a man named Tom. He was in his 50s with a kind face and tired eyes. He looked at Maya's resume and nodded slowly. "You're overqualified for this," he said, "but I guess that means you know what you're doing." "I need the work," Maya admitted. There was no point in pretending. Tom studied her face for a moment. Then he nodded again. "Okay, you can start next week. I have 6 students right now who need a teacher, mostly kids. A few adults. Nothing fancy. Just basics. Do you think you can do that?" "Yes," Maya said. "Thank you." She left the music store feeling strange. She had a job now. She would be able to pay her rent. She would survive. But this was not what she had dreamed about. This was not why she had spent 27 years of her life dedicated to the piano. She had wanted to perform. She had wanted to share great music with audiences. She had wanted to be an artist. Now she would be teaching Mary Had a Little Lamb to 7-year-olds. Maya's first day of teaching was harder than she expected. Her first student was a little girl named Emma. She was 8 years old with pigtails and a shy smile. She sat at the piano bench with her feet dangling above the pedals. She could barely reach the keys properly. "Do you practice at home?" Maya asked. Emma shook her head. "Sometimes I forget." Maya felt frustration rise inside her. She wanted to say, "How can you forget? Music is the most important thing in the world. You have to practice every day. You have to commit yourself completely." But she did not say any of that. Emma was just a child. This was probably just an activity her parents made her do. Emma did not have dreams of performing at Carnegie Hall. Emma did not even know what Carnegie Hall was. "Let's try the C scale," Maya said, forcing herself to be patient. Emma played the scale. She hit wrong notes. She used the wrong fingers. She played too fast and then too slow. Maya corrected her gently. They practiced it over and over. By the end of the 30-minute lesson, Emma could play the C scale correctly 3 times in a row. She smiled proudly. "Good job," Maya said, even though inside she was screaming. This was torture. This was wasting her gift. She was capable of so much more than this. But she needed the money. So she smiled and said, "I'll see you next week." The other students were similar. A 10-year-old boy who never practiced. A 40-year-old woman who wanted to learn piano because she thought it would be relaxing. A teenage girl whose parents forced her to take lessons. None of them had real passion. None of them had the fire that Maya had inside her. They were all just going through the motions. Teaching them felt like dying slowly. Weeks turned into months. Maya fell into a routine. She taught lessons at the music store 4 days a week. On the other days, she worked at the shop's front counter, selling guitar strings and drumsticks to customers. The work was boring and repetitive. The pay was barely enough to survive. After rent and bills and food, Maya had almost nothing left over. She stopped buying new clothes. She stopped going out with friends. She became a ghost of her former self, her sister Rachel noticed. She invited Maya to lunch on a Saturday in March. They met at a small cafe near Rachel's apartment. Rachel was a lawyer. She wore expensive clothes and carried a nice purse. She had a successful career. She had a fiancé. She had her life together. Maya felt small sitting across from her. "You look tired," Rachel said, concerned. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Maya lied. "Just busy." "How's the orchestra?" "Are you playing more now?" Maya's stomach twisted. She had to tell her. She could not keep lying. "Actually," Maya said slowly, "I'm not with the orchestra anymore. I left in December." Rachel's eyes widened. "What? Why didn't you tell me?" "They cut my position. Budget problems." "Oh, Maya." Rachel reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm so sorry. What are you doing now?" Maya told her about the music store, about the teaching, about the struggles. Rachel listened with growing concern on her face. "Why didn't you ask me for help?" Rachel said. "I could have loaned you money. I could have helped you find something better." "I didn't want charity," Maya said. "I wanted to figure it out myself." "That's not charity. That's family." Rachel squeezed her hand. "Listen, I have some connections in the arts community through work. Let me make some calls. Maybe I can find you something better than teaching kids at a music store." I don't know if there's anything better for someone like me, Maya said bitterly. I spent 3 years preparing to perform and never performed once. My resume is a joke. You're an amazing pianist, Rachel insisted. I've heard you play. You're talented. There has to be somewhere that needs that. But Maya knew better. Talent was not enough. The world was full of talented people who never got their chance. She was just another one of them. After lunch, Maya went home feeling worse than before. Rachel meant well, but her pity made everything harder. Maya did not want to be pitied. She did not want to be saved by her successful sister. She wanted to succeed on her own, but how? What could she possibly do that she had not already tried? That night, Maya sat at her piano. She had not played much lately. She was too tired after teaching all day, too discouraged. But tonight she needed to remember why she had started this journey in the first place. She needed to remember what music meant to her. She started playing. A Chopin nocturne, soft and sad and beautiful. The notes flowed from her fingers like water. She closed her eyes and let the music take her away from her small apartment, away from her disappointments, away from reality. For these few minutes she was somewhere else, somewhere better. When she finished, she sat in silence. A thought came to her, a memory, something her sister had said at lunch. Maybe post some videos online? That's how people get discovered now. Maya had dismissed the idea immediately. That was for young people, for social media influencers and viral sensations, not for serious classical musicians, not for someone trained in the traditional way. Playing music online felt cheap. It felt like giving up on her real dreams. But what were her real dreams worth now? They had gotten her nowhere. Traditional paths had led her to a dead end. Maybe it was time to try something different. Something she had never considered before. Maya opened her laptop. She typed in a video sharing website. She watched some piano videos. There were all kinds. Pop songs, classical pieces, jazz. People of all ages playing in their homes, in studios, in parks. Some were terrible. Some were okay. Some were actually very good. Could she do this? Could she put herself out there for the world to see and judge? The idea made her feel uncomfortable, exposed, vulnerable. But what did she have to lose? She was already at the bottom. Things could not get much worse. Maya looked at her piano. It was an upright, not a grand. The room was small and plain. She did not have professional recording equipment or good lighting. But she had her phone. And she had her gift. Maybe that was enough. She spent the next few days thinking about it. What would she play? How would she record it? What would she say? The questions swirled in her mind. Part of her wanted to forget the whole idea. Part of her was terrified. But another part of her was curious. What if this worked? What if someone saw her video and actually cared? It was a long shot. A desperate attempt by a desperate person. But Maya had run out of other options. 3 months after losing her orchestra job, Maya decided to try. She would make a video. She would post it online. She would see what happened. At the very least, she would finally be heard. Even if it was just by a few dozen people scrolling through their phones at night. It was better than sitting in silence, better than teaching scales to children who did not care, better than accepting that her dreams were over. Maya set up her phone. She found a way to balance it on a stack of books on her bookshelf. She angled it toward her piano. She checked the view. She could see the piano keys in her hands. That would have to be good enough. She sat down at the piano. She adjusted the bench. She took a deep breath. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking slightly. This felt strange, wrong, but also necessary. Maya pressed the record button on her phone. The little red dot appeared on the screen. She was recording. She was really doing this. Now she just had to play. Maya stared at the red recording dot on her phone. Her fingers rested on the piano keys. She had to start playing. But suddenly her mind went blank. What was she going to play? She had thought about this for days, but now, in the moment, she could not remember what she had decided. She stopped the recording. She took another deep breath. She needed to think clearly. What song should she choose? A classical piece? Something by Beethoven or Mozart? That would show her training. That would prove she was a serious musician. But would anyone watch it? Would anyone care? Classical music videos were everywhere online. She would just be another pianist playing another famous piece. No, she needed something different. Something that would make people stop and listen. Something that would grab attention. Maya thought about the videos she had watched. The ones that got the most views were not always the most technically perfect. They were the ones that touched people's hearts, the ones that made people feel something, the ones that took familiar songs and made them new again. An idea formed in her mind. It was risky. Some people might think it was too simple, too commercial, not serious enough for someone with her training. But maybe that was exactly why it would work. She would play a song that everyone knew, a song that people had heard 1,000,000 times, but she would transform it. She would use all of her classical training to reimagine it. She would show people that familiar music could become something beautiful and complex and emotional when played by someone who truly understood the piano. The song came to her immediately. She had heard it on the radio in the music store last week. It was a pop ballad that had been popular for years. Everyone knew it. It had been played at weddings and on talent shows and in movies. It was almost too familiar. People probably did not even really hear it anymore. It had become background music. But Maya heard something in it that others might have missed. Beneath the simple melody, there was real emotion. There was longing and hope and sadness. When she stripped away the production and the vocals and just focused on the core melody, it was actually quite beautiful. She could work with this. She could take this familiar song and rebuild it from the ground up. She could add complex harmonies. She could weave in classical techniques. She could make it something that honored both the original song and her own training. Maya grabbed a piece of paper and a pencil. She started sketching out ideas. She played fragments on the piano, testing different approaches. She spent the next 2 hours working out an arrangement. She tried different introductions. She experimented with the chorus. She figured out a way to build the song to a powerful climax before bringing it back down to a gentle ending. When she finished planning, she practiced the arrangement, over and over. She wanted it to be perfect. She wanted every note to mean something. This was not just about playing correctly. This was about telling a story. This was about making people feel what she felt. It was nearly midnight when Maya felt ready. She was tired. Her fingers hurt from practicing. But the arrangement was good. She knew it was good. This was the best thing she had created in a long time. Maybe ever. She set up her phone again. She positioned it carefully. She checked the lighting. It was not great. The lamp in her living room cast strange shadows. But it would have to do. She was not a professional video producer. She was just a pianist trying to be heard. Maya sat at the piano. She rolled her shoulders back. She shook out her hands. She closed her eyes and took 3 slow breaths. She needed to forget about the camera. She needed to forget about the internet and the potential viewers and the fear. She needed to just play. Just connect with the music the way she always did when no one was watching. She pressed record. The red dot appeared. Maya began. She started with a delicate introduction. Just the highest notes on the piano played softly. Almost like wind chimes, like something fragile and beautiful. The notes hinted at the melody to come but did not reveal it yet. She was building anticipation, making people lean in and listen. Then she brought in the main melody. But not in the way people expected. She played it in a minor key at first. She slowed it down. She added echoing notes in the bass that created a sense of depth and mystery. The familiar song suddenly sounded different, haunting, more meaningful than it had ever been before. Maya's hands moved across the keys with confidence. This was what she had trained for her entire life. This was what all those hours of practice had built toward. Not to play someone else's piece exactly as written, but to take music and make it her own. To interpret. To transform. To create. She forgot about the camera completely now. She forgot about her small apartment and her struggles and her pain. She was inside the music. The music was inside her. They were one thing, inseparable. As the arrangement built, Maya's playing became more intense. She added running passages that cascaded up and down the keyboard. She played thick chords that resonated with power. She made the piano sing and shout and whisper. She poured everything into it. Every disappointment, every hope, every dream that had died, every spark of life that still remained inside her. The climax of the song arrived. Maya played with her whole body. Her hands flew across the keys. Her arms moved with force. Her body swayed with the rhythm. This was not the restrained, controlled playing of a classical concert hall. This was raw. This was honest. This was real, and then she began to bring it back down. The storm passed. The intensity faded. She returned to the gentle high notes from the beginning. The melody played one last time, now in the original major key, but softer than before. Tender, like a memory, like something precious that was slipping away. Maya played the final chord. She let it ring out. She held the sustain pedal down so the notes would continue singing. She kept her hands on the keys even after the sound faded completely. She sat in the silence that followed. For a moment, she did not move. She was still inside that emotional space the music had created, still feeling everything she had just expressed. Then she opened her eyes. She looked at her phone. The red dot was still on. It was still recording. She had forgotten to think about it while playing. That was good. That meant she had been genuine. That meant what she had just played had come from a real place. Maya stood up slowly. She walked over to her phone. She stopped the recording. Her hands were shaking, not from nervousness now, from the intensity of what she had just done. She had been holding so much inside for so long, and she had just let it all out. She felt exhausted, but also lighter somehow, like something heavy had been lifted off her chest. She looked at the video file on her phone. 4 minutes and 37 seconds. That was all. Less than 5 minutes, but it felt like so much more. It felt like she had just shared a piece of her soul with the world. Maya sat down on her couch. She played the video back. She watched herself play. It was strange seeing herself from this angle. She never looked at herself when she played. She was always focused on the keys and the music. As she watched, Maya felt nervous. Was it good? Or had she just imagined that it was good because she was emotional and desperate? Would other people see what she had tried to do? Or would they think it was pretentious? Silly? A waste of time? She watched the whole video twice. Then a third time. Each time she noticed small things she could have done better. A note that was not quite perfect. A moment where her timing was slightly off. But overall it was good. It was honest. It was her. Maya opened the video upload website on her phone. She created an account. She had never done this before. She filled in the basic information: username, email, password. Then she came to the upload screen. She selected her video file. It started uploading. A progress bar appeared. It moved slowly. Maya watched it climb from 1% to 5% to 10%. Her heart was beating fast again. Was she really doing this? Was she really about to share this with the entire internet? While the video uploaded, she thought about what to write in the description. She needed a title, something that would make people click, but nothing too clickbaity, nothing dishonest. She thought for a minute. Then she typed, "Classical Pianist Plays, Song Title, Piano Cover, Simple, Direct, Honest." It explained what the video was without promising too much. For the description, she kept it brief. She did not mention the orchestra. She did not mention being fired. She did not tell her sad story. She just wrote, "My interpretation of this beautiful song. Hope you enjoy it." The upload finished. Maya's finger hovered over the publish button. This was it. Once she pressed this button, the video would be public. Anyone in the world could watch it. Anyone could judge it. Anyone could criticize it or mock it or ignore it. But maybe, just maybe, someone would appreciate it. Someone would hear what she was trying to say. Someone would understand. Maya pressed publish. The screen changed. Her video was now live, public, available to the world. There was a link she could share. There were buttons to promote it on social media. There was a view counter that currently read 0. Maya felt a strange mix of relief and terror. She had done it. She had put herself out there. Now there was nothing to do but wait and see what happened. She looked at the clock. It was 11:47 p.m. She was exhausted. The emotional intensity of the performance and the anxiety of uploading it had drained her completely. She needed sleep. Maya brushed her teeth. She changed into her pajamas. She climbed into bed. But she could not stop thinking about the video. Was anyone watching it right now? Had anyone found it yet? Should she check? No, she should just sleep. She could check in the morning. But sleep would not come. Maya lay in the darkness with her eyes open. She kept thinking about the video, about the song, about what it might mean, about what might happen next. Probably nothing. Probably her video would sit there with 0 views and disappear into the endless ocean of content. that got uploaded every second. Probably no one would ever see it. Probably this whole thing had been a waste of time, but at least she had tried. At least she had played. At least she had been heard, even if it was just by herself. Finally, around 2 a.m., Maya fell asleep. She dreamed about playing piano on a big stage, but in the dream, the audience seats were all empty. She played and played, but no one came. Her music echoed in the empty hall. Alone, always alone. When Maya woke up the next morning, she immediately grabbed her phone. She opened the video website. She navigated to her video. She looked at the view counter. Her heart stopped. The number was not 0 anymore. The video had 147 views, and 23 comments, and 15 likes. Maya sat up in bed. She blinked at the screen. This was not possible. How had 147 people found her video overnight? She was nobody. She had no followers. She had not promoted it anywhere. She opened the comments section with trembling fingers. The first comment read, "This is absolutely beautiful. You have amazing talent." The second comment, "Why is this not more popular? This deserves millions of views." The third comment, "I've heard this song 1,000 times, but never like this. You made me cry." Maya read through all the comments. They were all positive. Some were just a few words. Some were longer, more detailed. But they all said basically the same thing. The video was good. The music was beautiful. They had connected with what she had done. Maya felt tears forming in her eyes. But these were different tears than the ones she had cried in Mr. Hoffman's office. These were not tears of defeat. These were tears of recognition, of validation, of hope. Someone had heard her. Multiple someones. They had listened to her music. And they had cared. It was not much. Just 147 views. Just a handful of comments. But to Maya in that moment it felt like everything. It felt like proof that she had not wasted her life. It felt like maybe, just maybe, there was a reason to keep going. She got out of bed. She made coffee. She checked the video again. The number had grown. 203 views now. More comments had appeared. Maya went through her morning routine in a daze. She kept checking her phone. The numbers kept climbing. 315 views, 447 views, 691 views. The comments kept coming. People were sharing the video. People were telling their friends. By noon, the video had over 2,000 views. Maya could not believe it. She watched the numbers refresh every few minutes. Up and up and up. The view counter was moving so fast now she could barely keep track. What was happening? How was this possible? She checked the video sharing website's homepage. Sometimes they featured videos on their front page, but her video was not there. She searched for her song title. Her video did not appear at the top of the results, so how were people finding it? Then she saw it. Someone had shared her video on a popular social media platform. Someone with lots of followers. They had written, "You need to hear this. This pianist is incredible. Why isn't she famous?" That post had been shared hundreds of times. That was how people were finding her video. It was spreading, growing, going viral. Maya's phone started buzzing with notifications. Not just from the video website now, from everywhere. People were tagging her on social media. They were sending her messages. They were asking questions. Who was she? Where did she study? Where could they hear more of her music? She felt overwhelmed, excited, terrified all at once. The numbers kept climbing. 5,000 views, 10,000, 20,000. The comment section was moving so fast she could not read them all anymore. The video was taking on a life of its own. It was spreading across the internet like wildfire, and Maya just sat in her small apartment watching it happen, unable to believe that this was real. By the time evening arrived, Maya's video had reached 100,000 views. The number seemed impossible. Maya refreshed the page again and again, thinking there must be a mistake. But the number kept growing. 105,000, 112,000, 127,000. People all over the world were watching her play piano in her small apartment. Maya's phone would not stop buzzing. Notifications came in so fast that she had to turn off the sound. Every few seconds, another message, another comment, another person sharing her video. It was overwhelming. She felt like she was drowning in attention after years of being invisible. She tried to read the comments. There were thousands now. Most were positive. People calling her talented. People saying they had goosebumps. People saying they played the video on repeat. People thanking her for creating something beautiful. But there were some negative comments too. Someone wrote, "This is okay, but nothing special." Someone else wrote, "I've heard better." A few people criticized her technique or said she was showing off. Maya tried not to let those comments hurt her. But they did. Each negative word felt like a tiny knife. Still, the positive comments outnumbered the negative ones by far. And some of the positive comments came from people who seemed to really know music. Professional musicians. Music teachers. People with thousands of followers who had credibility in the music world. One comment in particular caught Maya's attention. It was from a verified account. A famous classical pianist named David Zhao. Maya had admired his work for years. She had attended one of his concerts when she was in university. And now he had commented on her video. He wrote, "This is breathtaking. The technical skill is impressive, but more importantly, the emotional depth is remarkable. This pianist understands that music is not just about playing the right notes. It's about telling a story. It's about making people feel. We need more artists like this in the world." Maya read the comment 5 times, then 10 times. David Zhao had praised her. David Zhao thought she was talented. David Zhao had told his millions of followers to watch her video. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. She wanted to call someone and share this moment. But who would understand? Who would care as much as she did? She called her sister Rachel. "Hello?" Rachel answered on the second ring. "Rachel, something crazy is happening," Maya said. Her voice was shaking. "What? Are you okay?" "You sound weird." "I'm fine. I'm better than fine. I made a video. A piano video. I posted it online last night. And now it's going viral. Like really viral. Hundreds of thousands of people have watched it." There was silence on the other end. Then Rachel said, "Wait, what? Say that again slowly." Maya explained everything. The video. The views. The comments. David Zhao. Rachel listened without interrupting. "Oh my God," Rachel finally said. "Maya, this is incredible. I'm looking at it right now. You have 150,000 views. How is this even possible?" "I don't know," Maya admitted. "I just played. I just shared it. And now everyone is watching." "This is your moment," Rachel said. "This is what you've been waiting for. You have to do something with this. You can't just let it pass." "Or do what?" "I don't know what to do. Make more videos. Right now. While people are paying attention. Give them more content. Build on this momentum." Maya had not thought of that. She had been so focused on this one video that she had not considered what came next. But Rachel was right. People were watching her now. This was her chance. She could not waste it. "Okay," Maya said. "Okay, I'll make another video tonight." "I'm so proud of you," Rachel said softly. "I always knew you were special. Now everyone else knows it too." After they hung up, Maya sat at her piano. She needed to choose another song. Something different from the first one, but still accessible. Still emotional. Still something that would connect with people. She spent an hour trying different pieces. Classical compositions. Pop songs. Jazz standards. Nothing felt right. She was too nervous now. Too aware of the pressure. She knew people were waiting for her next video. She knew they had expectations. What if the second video was not as good as the first? What if people were disappointed? Maya stood up from the piano. She was overthinking this. She was letting fear control her again. She needed to remember why she had made the first video in the first place. Not for views or fame or validation, but because she needed to play. Because she needed to express herself. Because music was who she was. She sat back down. She closed her eyes. She let her fingers find the keys without thinking. They started playing on their own. A melody emerged, soft and gentle. A lullaby her mother used to sing to her when she was a child. Maya had arranged it for piano years ago. She had never performed it for anyone. It was too personal, too close to her heart. But maybe that was exactly what she needed to share now. Something genuine, something real. Maya set up her phone again. She pressed record, and she played the lullaby. She played it for her mother. She played it for her younger self. She played it for everyone who had ever felt small or forgotten or dismissed. She played it as a reminder that beautiful things can exist even in the quietest moments. When she finished, she uploaded the video immediately. Before she could doubt herself, Before she could change her mind, the second video started getting views right away. People who had subscribed to her channel after the first video were notified. They watched. They commented. They shared. Within 2 hours, the second video had 20,000 views. Maya went to bed that night exhausted but unable to sleep. Her mind was racing. What was going to happen now? Would this continue, or would people lose interest tomorrow? Was this real or just a temporary moment of internet randomness? She woke up the next morning to her phone ringing. An unknown number. She almost did not answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Is this Maya Chen? A woman's voice, professional, confident. Yes, this is Maya. My name is Jennifer Torres. I'm a talent agent based in New York. I represent musicians and performing artists. I saw your piano videos online. They're extraordinary. I'd like to talk to you about representation. Maya sat up in bed. Representation? Yes, I think you have enormous potential. With the right guidance and promotion, you could build a serious career. I'd like to discuss working together. Would you be available for a call later this week? This was happening too fast. Yesterday, Maya was teaching beginner piano to children at a music store. Today, a talent agent from New York wanted to represent her. Yes, I'd be available, Maya stammered. Excellent. I'll have my assistant email you sometimes. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. The woman hung up. Maya stared at her phone. Was that real? Did a talent agent really just call her? She checked her email. There was already a message from Jennifer Torres' assistant with proposed meeting times. It was real. More emails had arrived overnight. A record label wanted to discuss a recording contract. A concert venue wanted to know if she was available for a performance. A music magazine wanted to interview her. A morning talk show wanted to book her as a guest. Maya felt dizzy. This was too much. This was everything she had ever dreamed of, happening all at once. She did not know how to process it. She did not know who to trust or what decisions to make. She called Rachel again. I need help, Maya said as soon as Rachel answered. This is getting too big. I don't know what to do. Rachel came over that afternoon. She brought her laptop and her legal training. Together, they went through all the messages and offers. Rachel helped Maya sort through what was legitimate and what seemed suspicious. She helped Maya understand the business side of things. She reminded Maya not to sign anything without reading it carefully. You have leverage now, Rachel explained. Everyone wants you. That means you can negotiate. You can choose what's right for you. Don't just take the first offer because you're grateful someone noticed you. It was good advice. Maya had been so used to being dismissed and rejected that her instinct was to say yes to everything. She had to remind herself that she had value now. She had power. Over the next few days, Maya's videos continued to spread. The first video reached 1 million views, then 2 million, then 5 million. Maya appeared on several popular podcasts. She did interviews with music blogs and news websites. Her story spread. The pianist who had been fired from an orchestra and then went viral with a video recorded in her apartment. People loved the narrative. Underdog makes good. Talent recognized at last. But Maya felt conflicted about the story. Yes, she had struggled. Yes, she had been dismissed. But she did not want to be defined by those things. She did not want to be the rejected pianist who finally succeeded. She wanted to be recognized for her artistry, for her skill, for her interpretation and emotion and dedication. Still, she understood that the story helped people connect with her. It made her relatable. It made them root for her. So she told it when asked. But she always tried to bring the conversation back to the music itself. 1 week after posting her first video, Maya received an invitation that made her heart stop. Carnegie Hall wanted her to perform. Not in the main hall, but in their Weil Recital Hall, which seated about 250 people. It was part of a showcase for emerging artists. Still, it was Carnegie Hall, one of the most famous concert venues in the world. Maya read the email 3 times to make sure it was real. Then she called Rachel. Carnegie Hall, she whispered into the phone. They want me to perform at Carnegie Hall. Oh my God, Maya. When? 3 months from now. They're doing a series of showcase concerts for new artists. Are you going to do it? I have to. How can I say no to Carnegie Hall? But even as she said it, Maya felt terrified. Playing in her apartment for a camera was one thing. Playing in front of a live audience at one of the world's most prestigious venues, was something entirely different. What if she made a mistake? What if people were disappointed? What if the video had been a fluke and she could not recreate that magic in person? "You can do this," Rachel said firmly. "You've been preparing for this your entire life. You're ready." Maya wanted to believe her. She tried to believe her, but doubt crept in every time she thought about it. Still, she said yes to Carnegie Hall. She said yes to the talent agent. She said yes to a small recording contract that would let her release an album. She said yes to opportunities she had dreamed about for decades. Meanwhile, she kept posting videos. One every few days. Different songs. Different styles. Each one got hundreds of thousands of views. Some got millions. She was building an audience. People were subscribing to her channel. They were following her on social media. They were buying tickets to any event where she was performing. Maya quit her job at the music store. Tom, the owner, was understanding. "I knew you were too talented for this place," he said with a smile. "Go do what you're meant to do." For the first time in years, Maya felt like she was doing exactly that. But success brought new pressures. People had opinions about everything she did. Her choice of songs, her arrangements, the way she presented herself online. Some people thought she should stick to classical music. Others wanted more pop covers. Some criticized her for selling out by doing commercial work. Others criticized her for not doing enough commercial work. Maya tried to ignore the negativity. She tried to focus on the music and the supporters who appreciated what she was doing. But it was hard. When you put yourself out there, you opened yourself up to judgment. And judgment hurt even when you tried not to let it. The months before the Carnegie Hall performance flew by. Maya practiced constantly. She worked with the talent agent to build her brand. She did interviews and appearances. She recorded tracks for her upcoming album. Her life had completely transformed in just a few months. Sometimes Maya would sit in her apartment and look around at the same furniture and the same piano and wonder if she had dreamed it all. How had this happened? How had one video changed everything? But she knew the answer. It was not just one video. It was 27 years of dedication. It was thousands of hours of practice. It was refusing to give up even when the world told her she was not needed. It was having the courage to be vulnerable and share her gift. The video was just the match that lit the fire. But Maya had been building the fuel for her entire life. As the Carnegie Hall date approached, Maya felt more nervous than she had ever felt before. This was the moment. This was her chance to prove that she was not just a viral video. She was a real artist. She was worth the attention and the opportunity. She just hoped she would not let everyone down. Most of all, she hoped she would not let herself down. The night before the Carnegie Hall performance, Maya could not sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling of her hotel room. The room was nice, much nicer than her apartment. The talent agent had arranged for her to stay in Manhattan so she would not have to travel on the day of the concert. Everything had been arranged. Everything had been planned. All Maya had to do was show up and play, but that was the hardest part. She kept thinking about all the things that could go wrong. She could forget the music. She could make mistakes. Her fingers could slip on the keys. The audience could be disappointed. Critics could write bad reviews. Her entire career could end before it truly began. At 3 a.m., Maya gave up trying to sleep. She got out of bed. She sat on the floor and did breathing exercises. She tried to calm her racing mind. She reminded herself why she was doing this. Not for fame. Not for success. Not to prove anything to anyone, but because she loved music, because playing piano was who she was, because sharing her gift with others was what she was meant to do. That thought helped. A little. When morning finally came, Maya felt exhausted but determined. She ordered room service for breakfast but barely ate anything. Her stomach was in knots. She took a long shower. She got dressed carefully. She had bought a new dress for the performance. It was simple but elegant. Black with long sleeves, professional. She looked at herself in the mirror. She looked like a real pianist, someone who belonged on a stage. But inside, she still felt like that backup pianist sitting in a practice room, waiting, invisible. "You are not that person anymore," Maya said to her reflection. "You are not invisible. You are here. You earned this." The words helped. A little. Rachel arrived at noon. She had taken the day off work to be there for her sister. She brought lunch and moral support. They sat together in the hotel room and talked about everything except the performance. Rachel told funny stories about her job. She showed Maya pictures of her recent vacation. She was trying to distract her. Maya appreciated it. At 4 p.m., it was time to go to the venue. Carnegie Hall was only a few blocks away. Rachel walked with her. The streets of New York were busy with people rushing in every direction. No one knew that Maya was about to perform at one of the most famous concert halls in the world. To everyone else, she was just another person walking down the sidewalk. When they turned the corner and Carnegie Hall came into view, Maya stopped breathing for a moment. The building was beautiful, historic, imposing. Some of the greatest musicians in history had performed there. Legendary pianists, famous composers, icons of music. And tonight Maya Chen would walk onto one of its stages. It felt surreal. Maya and Rachel entered through the stage door. A staff member met them and guided them through hallways filled with photographs of past performers. Maya recognized some of the faces, masters of their instruments, pioneers of their art. She felt small walking past them. She felt like an imposter. The staff member brought them to a dressing room. It was small but comfortable. There was a mirror surrounded by lights, a couch, a small table with water and snacks. The staff member told Maya that the performance would begin at 7:30 p.m. She had 3 hours to prepare. Rachel hugged her tightly. "You're going to be amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to find my seat now. I'll be right there in the audience cheering for you." "Don't cheer too loud," Maya said, trying to make a joke. "This is supposed to be classy." Rachel laughed. "I'll try to contain myself." After Rachel left, Maya was alone. She sat on the couch. She tried to practice her breathing exercises again. She tried to visualize the performance going well. She tried to remember everything her piano teacher had told her years ago about performing. Stay focused. Trust your preparation. Let the music flow through you. At 6 p.m., there was a knock on the door. Maya opened it. A young man stood there holding a large bouquet of flowers. "Delivery for Maya Chen," he said. Maya took the flowers. They were beautiful. Roses and lilies and other flowers she could not name. She found the card tucked inside. It was from David Zhao, the famous pianist who had commented on her video. The card read, "I will be in the audience tonight. I cannot wait to hear you play in person. You have a rare gift. Share it with confidence." David, Maya's eyes filled with tears. David Zhao was going to be there, watching her. She did not know if that made her more nervous or more excited. Maybe both. At 7 p.m., the stage manager came to her dressing room. He was an older man with a calm, reassuring presence. 15 minutes until we start seating the audience, he said. "Would you like to see the hall? Walk on the stage while it's still empty?" "Yes," Maya said immediately. She needed to see the space. She needed to feel it. The stage manager led her through corridors and up a small flight of stairs. Then they walked through a door and onto the stage. Maya stopped and looked out. The Weil recital hall was smaller than the main Carnegie Hall, but it was still impressive. Rows of red velvet seats stretched out before her. Balconies rose up on the sides. The ceiling was high and ornate. The acoustics in the room felt different than any place she had played before. The air itself seemed to carry weight, history, meaning. In the center of the stage sat a beautiful grand piano, a Steinway. The same kind of piano she had touched on her last night at the Riverside Symphony Orchestra. The same kind of piano she had dreamed of playing. "Would you like to try it?" the stage manager asked. "You have a few minutes." Maya walked over to the piano. She ran her hand along its smooth surface. She lifted the lid that covered the keys. She sat down on the bench. She adjusted it to the perfect height. She placed her hands on the keys and played a simple scale. The sound that came out was incredible, rich, full, resonant. This piano was perfectly tuned, perfectly maintained. It was an instrument worthy of this hall. Maya played a few more notes. A chord, a short melody. She was testing the piano's response, learning how it wanted to be played. Every piano was different. Every piano had its own personality. This piano wanted to sing. "It's beautiful," Maya said softly. "It's yours for the next hour," the stage manager said with a smile. "Make it count." He left the stage. Maya sat alone at the piano. She looked out at the empty seats. Soon they would be filled with people. Real people. Not just usernames on the internet. Not just viewers behind screens, but living, breathing humans who had bought tickets and traveled here to see her perform. What if she disappointed them? No, she could not think like that. She had to trust herself. She had to trust her preparation. She had to trust the music. Maya closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. She thought about her journey, about the little girl who had fallen in love with the piano, about the teenager who had practiced for hours every day, about the young woman who had studied music in university, about the backup pianist who had sat in a practice room for 3 years, about the woman who had been dismissed, about the desperate decision to make a video, about everything that had led to this moment. She was ready. At 7:25 p.m., Maya stood backstage. She could hear the audience filing into the hall. Voices, footsteps, the rustling of programs. The hall was filling up. According to the stage manager, the concert was sold out. All 268 seats were taken, plus some standing room. People wanted to see her. The stage manager came to find her. 5 minutes, Maya nodded. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were cold. But she felt clear, focused. At 7:30 p.m. exactly, the lights in the hall dimmed. The audience grew quiet. The stage manager gave Maya a nod. It was time. Maya walked onto the stage. The spotlight hit her. The audience began to applaud. Maya walked to the piano. She bowed slightly to the audience. She sat down at the bench. She adjusted it one more time. She placed her hands on the keys. The hall was silent now, waiting. Everyone was waiting for her to begin. Maya closed her eyes for just a moment. She took one final breath. Then she opened her eyes and began to play. The first piece was a classical composition by Chopin. A nocturne, soft and lyrical and emotional. Maya's fingers moved across the keys with confidence. The notes filled the hall. The piano sang. And Maya forgot about the audience. She forgot about her nerves. She forgot about everything except the music. She played for 45 minutes without stopping. She had prepared a program of 6 pieces, classical works, her own arrangements, a mix of familiar and new. She moved through them seamlessly. Each piece told a story. Each piece shared something of herself. When she played her final note, there was a moment of silence. The sound faded into the air. The hall held its breath. Then the applause began. It was thunderous. People stood up. They clapped and clapped and clapped. Maya stood and bowed. The applause continued. She bowed again. Still the applause continued. She looked out at the audience. So many faces. So many people who had come to hear her play. She spotted Rachel in the 3rd row, crying and clapping wildly. She saw David Zhao in the 5th row, standing and applauding with a huge smile on his face. These people were not disappointed. They were moved. They were grateful. They had experienced something beautiful. Maya felt tears on her own cheeks. But they were good tears. Happy tears. Tears of relief and joy and accomplishment. She had done it. She had really done it. After the performance, there was a small reception. People lined up to meet Maya, to shake her hand, to tell her how much the performance meant to them. Maya tried to talk to everyone. She tried to remember faces and names. It was overwhelming but wonderful. One woman in particular stayed in Maya's mind. She was young, maybe in her mid-20s. She had tears streaming down her face when she approached Maya. "Thank you," the young woman said. Her voice was shaking. "I needed to tell you thank you." "For what?" Maya asked gently. "I'm a musician too. A violinist, or I was. I gave up last year. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I'd missed my chance. Everyone told me I was too old to make it, that I should find a real career. So I stopped playing. I put my violin in a closet and tried to forget about it." The young woman took a shaky breath before continuing. "But then I saw your video. I read your story about being fired, about struggling, about recording a video in your apartment and everything changing. It made me realize that it's not too late, that there's no timeline for success, that if I give up, I'll regret it forever." She wiped her eyes. "I took my violin out of the closet yesterday. I've been practicing again. I'm going to audition for orchestras. I'm going to try again, because you showed me that it's possible. So thank you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for sharing your gift. You changed my life." The young woman hugged Maya quickly and then hurried away, disappearing into the crowd. Maya stood there, stunned. She had changed someone's life. Her story, her music, her choice to be vulnerable and share herself with the world had inspired someone else to keep trying. That was worth more than all the views and all the fame and all the success combined. That was what mattered. That was why she played music in the first place. To connect. To inspire. To remind people of what was possible. The reception ended around 10 p.m. Maya was exhausted but exhilarated. Rachel took her out for a late dinner at a small restaurant near the hotel. They sat in a corner booth and talked about the performance, about the audience, about what came next. "So what now?" Rachel asked. "You've played Carnegie Hall, you've gone viral. You have a record deal. What's the dream now?" Maya thought about it. 6 months ago, she would have said the dream was to perform at a prestigious venue, to be recognized, to be heard, and she had achieved all of that. But now the dream felt different, bigger, more meaningful. "I want to keep playing," Maya said, "but not just for myself. I want to use my platform to help other musicians. I want to show people that there are many paths to success, that rejection is not the end, that it's never too late to try." "That's beautiful," Rachel said, "and very you." Over the next few months, Maya's career continued to grow. Her album was released and received positive reviews. She performed at concert halls across the country. She started a scholarship fund for musicians from low-income backgrounds. She did free workshops for aspiring performers. She used her social media to highlight other talented musicians who deserved recognition. But she also kept making videos in her apartment. Simple videos. Just her and the piano. She never forgot where she had started. She never forgot that one video, recorded on a phone balanced on a stack of books, had changed everything. One day, almost a year after her Carnegie Hall performance, Maya received an unexpected email. It was from the Riverside Symphony Orchestra, from Gerald Hoffman himself. The email was formal and brief. The orchestra was planning a special anniversary gala. They wanted to invite Maya to perform as a guest soloist. They offered a generous fee. They praised her talent and her success. They said it would be an honor to have her. Maya read the email 3 times. She felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, satisfaction, vindication. This was the same orchestra that had dismissed her, the same man who had fired her with barely a glance. Now they wanted her back. Now she was good enough for them. She could have said no. She could have ignored the email or sent a polite rejection. She could have told them exactly what she thought about being dismissed and then courted when it was convenient for them. But Maya did something different. She said yes. Not because she needed them. Not because she wanted revenge or to prove a point, but because she had learned something important over the past year. Bitterness only hurt the person who carried it. Holding grudges only weighed you down. Success was not about proving people wrong. It was about proving yourself right. Maya agreed to perform at the gala, but she had one condition. She wanted to choose what she played, and she knew exactly what it would be. The night of the gala arrived. Maya stood backstage at the Riverside Symphony Orchestra, the same building she had left in tears a year ago, the same stage she had dreamed of playing on. But everything felt different now. She was not the invisible backup pianist anymore. She was the guest of honor. People knew her name. People respected her. Gerald Hoffman came backstage before the performance. He looked older than Maya remembered. More tired. "Miss Chen," he said, extending his hand. "Thank you for agreeing to perform tonight. It means a great deal to the orchestra." Maya shook his hand. "Thank you for the invitation." There was an awkward pause. Then Hoffman said, "I want you to know that the decision to eliminate your position was purely financial. It was not a reflection on your talent or your dedication." Maya looked at him. She could have said many things. She could have told him how much his dismissal had hurt her, how it had nearly destroyed her, how she had cried on this very stage, but she did not say any of those things. Instead, she said, "I understand. Things have a way of working out the way they're supposed to." Hoffman looked relieved. He nodded and left the backstage area. Maya stood alone for a moment. She realized she had meant what she said. If she had not been fired, she never would have made that video. She never would have shared herself with the world. She never would have discovered her true path. Being dismissed had been the best thing that ever happened to her. Sometimes doors close so that better doors can open. Sometimes rejection is protection. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. Maya walked onto the stage when her name was announced. The audience applauded. The orchestra sat behind her, instruments ready. This was the moment she had imagined so many times. Playing with this orchestra, on this stage, She sat at the piano, the same Steinway she had touched that night a year ago. She placed her hands on the keys, and she played the same song from her first viral video. The familiar melody that everyone knew, but transformed, elevated, made beautiful through her interpretation and her skill and her heart. The orchestra joined her, following her lead. The music swelled and filled the hall. Maya played with confidence, with joy, with freedom. She was not trying to prove anything. She was not playing from a place of pain or anger. She was simply sharing her gift, the way she had always wanted to. When the music ended, the audience rose to their feet. The applause was deafening. Maya stood and bowed. She looked out at the crowd and smiled. This was not about them. This was not about the orchestra or Gerald Hoffman or anyone who had ever doubted her. This was about the journey, about refusing to give up, about having the courage to be seen, about trusting that her voice mattered even when the world told her it did not. After the gala, Maya did not stay for the reception. She politely excused herself and left the building. She walked out into the cool night air. The city was alive around her. Cars passing, people walking, life continuing on. Maya pulled out her phone. She opened her video channel. She recorded a short message.
Hi, everyone, she said into the camera.
I just finished performing at the orchestra that fired me a year ago. And you know what? It felt good. Not because I proved them wrong, but because I proved to myself that I could move forward, that I could let go of the past, that I could choose forgiveness and growth over bitterness and anger. She paused, thinking about what else to say. If you're reading this and you've been rejected or dismissed or told you're not good enough, I want you to know something. That moment does not define you. Your worth is not determined by other people's decisions. Your path might look different than you expected, but that does not mean it's the wrong path. Keep going.
Keep trying.
Keep believing in yourself. You never know what's possible until you try. Maya ended the recording. She posted it without editing or overthinking. Then she put her phone away and started walking. She did not have anywhere specific to go. She just wanted to walk and think and breathe. She thought about that night in Mr. Hoffman's office, about the cold handshake and the dismissal, about how devastated she had felt, about how she had thought her life was over. She thought about all the moments between then and now, the struggle, the doubt, the desperate decision to make a video, the viral moment, the opportunities,